Hello and good evening. Welcome to the fifth episode of Blood on the Severn, a chronicle set in Bristol, England in the year 2012. First of all, thank you very much for your patience. We have had severe technical difficulties in getting things ready for tonight. Many reasons for that. Mainly, we moved. And the new house has to deal with the internet. And so, yes, a few disclaimers before we start. First, there is the very real possibility of us having connectivity issues since the connection is being done since last week. I think it was Thursday. So it's still patchy at points and a little dodgy. It might be that it drops. It might be that, well, it might be that we suffer a little bit for it. Other than that, there's a second big point to make, and it is that this backdrop has no safety pins in it, and I blame Peter for it. So feel free to run polls on the Twitch chat as to how long do you think it'll stay there without dropping and showing the background. Maybe have like three choices, like done in the first half, done in the second half, or stays the whole thing. So yeah, you can run it. Additionally, for those of you that can see us that are watching live or on YouTube, because for people on podcasts, you're the lucky ones. You don't have to deal with this additional problem. We have a bit of a video issue as well with Bex's camera, so sadly she will not be sharing her video tonight until we sort out our difficulties, our severe technical difficulties. I feel like I need to sit down, like closer to the center or something. So that is the gist of the base level of our technical difficulties for tonight. Also, Discord did updates, changed the way the overlay on Discord works, especially when you're streaming an additional window. So, Tech Ghoul Carlos apologizes. Okay. Now, apologies to my players who have already listened to this. I will start over. Basically, the Coterie, the Lockley's Coterie has been put together as an effort of the different factions of Bristol to find cooperation amongst them. Lockley's is an area that borders both Anarch and Camarilla territories, as well as other contested ones, and holds waterways, making it also the domain of the autarkies. By holding dominion over and domain over this area, the Coterie is tasked with the safeguarding of that area, avoiding interfaction problems like poaching and the like, and basically it is their domain to police, but also to enjoy and to exploit. Over the course of these first half of season 1, we have met Janus, who holds a group of faithful, which we're not gonna drop the C bomb and call it a cult, but it is totally a cult.
No, it's a community.
Yeah. Let's use community. And he has shown great fervor in following these teachings, so much so that he has helped Nanjasel walked a little bit of that path, and we have had Nanjasel have a leap of faith into this cult, community, and religion. We have also heard news of London falling, and this is particularly troubling at the beginning for Carl, whose sister, Christine, resided in London as a ghoul of a member of the Toro family. Christine eventually made it safely to Bristol, where through boons exchanged by her brother, her safety was guaranteed. Now, Alice and her anarch friends had been very concerned about the state of affairs for the representatives of the anarch faction. But now what is bothering Alice the most is a request from Christine. While she is here in Bristol, she does not wish to partake upon the blood of her brother. She needs kindred blood, for she's a ghoul. But she would rather have it from someone without any ties to the Camarilla. Now, the Coterie were asked to take in refugees. And these refugees are their responsibility for a short period of time, around 6 to 8 weeks, until it is determined whether they're going to stay and therefore go through the processes or leave the city. It's a group composed of 4 kindred, of course, all Camarilla from London. Annie Turner, Malkavian, who had shared a vision with Carl of her bursting into flames after pushing Matilda out of harm's way. Laura Bowden from Clan Ventru, who doesn't seem to be very happy staying in the domain where Shemitze holds at least part of the lordship of the place. Oscar Cantor, someone from Clan Tremere who definitely despises Janus, but also keeps very much to himself. And Clarence Hill Thorpe, a gangrel unlike many others, a man of taste and knowledge and wealth, who has had very nice and pleasant conversations and the occasional walk with Carl around town. Nangisel is of a mind of putting them all in a box, while everybody else is of a mind of not listening to Nangisel. But that probably is about to change. For through the lien of the Coterie, the allies and friends and people in the network, the neighborhood watch that they have had, they found that there was something odd taking place in the forgotten barracks near the tower. They went to the place, and it was evident through a vision of Carl that harm would befell Nangisel if she were to cross a threshold leading to the place they were about to investigate. Janus recognized the workings of blood magic in the area. Thaumaturgy, to be precise. Very, very different from the Coldunism he practices. And using a ritual in which he bound himself to the earth by cutting the soles of his feet, he managed to pass through the ward and disrupt where it was written. Within, the Coterie found the body of Jonathan Fowler, an ancilla of Clan Ventru, and a descendant, mortal descendant of Marie de Tour, then Ruiz Fowler. It was very difficult for the rest of the Coterie, but very simple for Matilda to recognize the signs of diablerie. For this was a body that was given final death, but his head still remain attached to his body. No burns of any kind have been seen. No stake. No nothing. The body has just received final death. And the coterie is there, under the stars. What do you guys do?
I think I've already... Oh, should we introduce ourselves? No.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes. Thank you very much, Josh. With me tonight.
Bex playing Nanzazar of the Ministry.
Echoey Pete playing Janusz Kroll of Clan Chmicy.
Josh playing Carl Frédéric Saint-Jacques de Taureau of Clan Toreador.
And Alice playing Matilda of Clan Ventru.
Many apologies. As you can see, this has been very accidental. I mean, it's
If it's any consolation, the backdrop is still up.
Yes, the backdrop's
and
still
I think
up.
that's the takeaway from this, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm so exhausted. Let's move on. So what do you guys do? You are there in this old World War II area that is, of course, completely abandoned and derelict, as I explained in the last session. And down one of these ladders, you can see this body that, of course, you knew mortals were around the area and they were not being affected by this war, this protection. So it's probably a deliberate a war that is deliberately there to stop other kindred from approaching the site. So it
Looking like skeletal, or is it still like kind of?
no, he's looking skeletal.
Yeah.
He was an ancilla for what Carl can remember.
Yeah, I went down, I think.
Yes, you went down and you recognize the ring.
And I'm going to take off his ring, and I will say to the others, I know him. He is Clan Ventru and Camarilla, and also he has a family connection to me, or did. I can only suggest that we remove this body somehow as quickly as possible before it is found by the mortal authorities.
Yes.
Well, I reckon we can get out. It's not going to be that difficult.
No.
But where are we going to take it to?
Back to Yanis's.
No, we ain't taking it back there.
Back to the domain. Back to the haven.
I mean, someone did this bloke in, right? Feels like we need to tell someone else about it.
Someone diablerized this person.
All right, so somebody really meant it.
They did.
Do the remains need returning to someone, or should we deal with them ourselves?
They should be returned to... Well, we have a Ventru here, but I don't know that she is of great standing in the Camarilla, so...
Oh, sorry. Carl, you would know how to get in touch with Agnes, her sire.
Okay. His
sire.
I'll do that. I mean, I imagine... we're under instruction not to use electronic communication. Does that include telephones? I still didn't get to the bottom of that, whether that's allowed or not.
Normal calls,
just emails.
They said like in general, sort of like off greedy, because you don't know who's tapping the lines or.
Okay, so we'll need to send a carrier pigeon or however we do this that isn't using any modern communication devices. But I would suggest that we put this body in a bag or a box, actually, just to please Nanjazal. Maybe we could put it in a box. And then...
What, do you think I just carry boxes around with me? I don't just keep in the back of Matty's car, do I?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you'd always have one handy. Well,
Not
if
a
not,
person-sized one.
not a person-sized one. But aren't they the only ones that really are any use to you?
We have bags of a variety of sizes back at the house. Perhaps we could go back and collect
I
some.
was going to say I don't think we should take this back to the house. Because I really don't think we want the London Camarilla types seeing it.
I will preside over the bones until they're ready to be collected. They can stay at my house.
Good.
Thank you, Alice.
I won't. Well, I don't mean to be indiscreet, but what about the ghost?
What ghost?
What?
Well, he's died down here. A horrible death. What's most likely going to lead to there being a ghost. So it sounds sensible to me that we ought to do something about that too.
But his spirit has been consumed by someone else.
Well, do you know if you've got personal experience of what that means in the afterlife? No, none of us have we? So, on that basis, I mean, look, normally folks keep hanging around if they have some sort of unpleasant death or they've got unfinished business, right? That's how it works. And this bloke got murdered. So reasonable to assume he's got unfinished business, right?
Yeah, but I don't think we need to worry about a ghost until we...
Allow me to
I feel like we've got
your
other things to
spirit
worry
rest,
about.
Giselle. I am confident that there are no spirits here.
All right. Well, that sounds all right then. I'll start climbing back up the ladder.
Would you
With
the
the body?
Taking the body with you now?
Oh,
me to-
right, yeah, okay. I'll take no.
It's-
It's all right. It's all right. I'll
It's
jump back down.
basically-
and pick it up and put it in my...
Yeah, it's
Put him over
basically a
my shoulder.
skeleton. Well, it's not a solid body. That's the thing. This is a like the
I'll sweep him up into my
flesh
jacket then.
flesh and muscle have been eroded away, decayed.
Okay.
Is it wrong that I keep thinking of a vampire version of Weekend at Bernie's?
Yes, because this is pretty much a skeleton. The body, like the natural process, the decomposition of it has been accelerated. And this is, you would imagine this is over 100. This man was well over 100, maybe 200 years old, because what remains is the skeleton. It's just the bones. Inside, a very well-tailored three-piece suit.
Well, then I use the suit to scoop up the bones, so it's like a makeshift sack.
Yep.
Classy.
Yeah. And then I just, well, Janos said there's nothing to worry about here, ghost-wise, so this is just bones now. So I'm just going to pick these up and start off up the ladder.
Cool. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not a difficult process. It's just to keep in mind. It's not, you're not going to be
I
doing
make
walking
myself hard to see when I'm coming out the top of the ladder.
Okay. Is this by means of obfuscate?
Yep.
Cool.
Are you going to want me to roll dice?
Nope, no need.
Excellent.
I will ask you. Well, actually, yes, I will ask you to make a rouse check.
Okay.
Because,
let me find the button.
But I think you were all fairly healthy.
I think we were, yeah.
Okay. Fairly fed. You just went to hunger 2. Okay.
Okay.
So
wait. I was already on hunger 2.
Oh, yeah, you were on hunger.
Oh yes.
Because I failed the last rouse check.
Welcome to hunger 3.
You can't see me dancing.
So, talk to me, Nanch. What do you want to do now?
Well, I'm going to Matilda's car because that's my route back.
Oh yes, are you all taking Matilda's car?
Yep.
Yeah.
Putting
Back to Yannis.
the bones.
Are we gonna put the body? Are we gonna put the bones in the boot, or
No,
is
they
it
are
gonna
going.
stay in
They're going
the
underneath
seat?
my feet,
Right. Okay.
like behind my legs in the back of the car.
Okay.
All right. Can you try and not get debris, please, on it?
Don't worry. If parts of him goes places, I'll clean up after it.
All right. Thank you.
Be all right.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather sit in the front if that's going on.
You can't all sit in the front, can you?
No.
Yeah, let's just sit in the back.
Okay.
The Coterie makes their way in Matilda's car back to Genesis Haven. You'll have to drive around, getting the M32, all the works. Now, There are roadworks in some of the streets, and you have known, especially the ones leading to the haven and the ones inside of your domain. But tonight it feels a little bit of that thrill you would have on your mortal days. Maybe you don't feel that pressure in the pit of your stomach anymore, but you still feel the rush and acceleration when you reach the roadworks and you have to make a full stop, and you see people working around there, and you see a police car, and it's the four of you, a very odd mix of people, and some of you cannot help but imagine, what if someone looks a little bit too much, too deeply into this. Like, we have human bones right here with us, not even in the trunk, but nothing happens. It's a momentary thing. Back into Janice's haven. You're there with the bones of a man.
So I will have someone, probably Evelina, fetch me some good solid sacks that will be appropriate for storing these bones, and we'll find a place to stash them.
Okay.
We'll keep hold of them till I'm directed where to put them, but then I'll put them there.
Okay.
I'll try and make arrangements to get hold of Agnes.
Okay.
Or at least the Ventru Primogen as well.
Okay. You know, Carl, that Caleb, the child of Obasi, the Ventru Primogen, should be returning in a couple of hours with your guests, with the refugees. Remember, he picks them up twice or three times a week, takes them to Camarilla territory so they can feed and interact with others, and then back. So a little bit to alleviate the burden of having them in your domain. Tonight is one of such nights, and they will be back in a few hours. So it is past midnight. It's around 1 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, for you guys, you imagine that they will be coming back in 1 or 2 hours.
All right. Well, I'll say to everybody, it seems to me that we should tell Obasi when he returns with our guests, and then perhaps he can come and pick up these bones and take them off our hands, as he is probably the right person to have them. At least his sire is, and they will be able to alert Agnes, who was our poor departed friend Jonathan's sire.
Yes, there is another concern, of course. Whilst we have dealt with the bones, there is still the matter that someone placed them there within our domain, and indeed used foul thaumaturgy. This, to me, seems...
and indeed diablerized the...
Yes.
And might well have done all of those things on our patch, right? I mean, all right, the thaumaturgy, but in point of fact, there's nothing to say that this bloke weren't murdered on our patch, and that puts it on us, right? Because we're responsible for making sure shit don't go down here.
And it seems to me a deliberate attempt for... Had people discovered that body, it would have caused a great scandal that would have fallen upon our shoulders.
Yeah.
And had one of us stumbled across it, we would have been hurt by the wards there. Again, perhaps drawing unpleasant attention.
Janusz, I got a question. You said that's some sort of, I can't remember what word you used, that thaumaturgy was placed there.
Yeah.
How long did it take to set up something like that? Like, what I'm worried about is, have people spent a long time coming in here doing this, or is it a quick thing to do?
Well, I'm not familiar in detail with the practice, but I would say not an instant thing, but it would not take weeks of preparation or even days. I imagine it would be within an hour.
So you're saying it could be Oscar then?
We need to get alibis. For our
Yes.
four.
Because they've been taken out. We don't know where they've been being taken when they left here. Right? I mean, they've just been being taken by the driver, right?
They've
Just
been
saying.
taken by Abassi.
No, Caleb.
Oh,
Caleb.
Caleb.
Obasi's child.
Caleb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Caleb.
I'm just saying, he's a Tremere. We know they're trouble, right? And he's been in the domain, and he's got access, potentially, to this neck of the woods. Just saying we can't discount him is all.
Yeah,
Well,
No.
I agree with that. However, I think we could broach the subject with him, see how he reacts, and if it seems that it wasn't him, then we might be able to elicit his aid in discovering who did do it, because he will know more about this whole thing than we will, being of the clan that uses this kind of magic.
Yeah, he will not want us to have something that can be used against him and his clan.
No, indeed. And it seems to me that this is much more likely to be a rogue member of the Tremere clan than someone of some repute, which I believe Oscar is. And
Well, do you want to do
someone
good cop, bad cop then?
If you wish, yes, because I mean, I think it's certainly not beyond the realms of possibility, but it's very unlikely to be him, because why shit where you eat, as they say.
Well, I
Quite.
suppose it depends. Let us imagine that they were successful, that this had caused a terrible breach, and the prince and others were angry with us.
Mm-hmm.
One imagines they would strip this domain from us. That would then allow a new domain to be allocated to someone else. Perhaps these newcomers who are looking to stay, perhaps others within other factions who are not happy with this state of affairs.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
I think it's certainly worth talking to him about it and seeing how he reacts, though.
Right. Sounds good to me. They's meant to be back pretty soon, aren't they?
They are.
Sorry, May.
So no, should we are we going to leave the bones here and then we're going to go back to the Haven and talk to them?
Who precisely, Carl, do you believe should speak with Oscar?
Well, if Nanjazal would like good cop, bad cop, then I would have thought I'm the obvious fit for the good one. And
I can lean on him if you want me to.
Well,
it might be wise then, perhaps, if I am not present.
No, I want you to be there.
You do?
I'll put him off. Yeah, it'll put him off balance. He'd be annoyed, and it'd be easier to upset him.
I do think
He'll want to get one up on you, and that'll mean he'll want to talk.
I think perhaps we should go as a united front. I think all four of us should be.
all right.
But
Very well.
wait. If we're doing a united front, we're not doing good cop, bad cop, right?
Well, you guys can take point with, good cop, bad cop.
Yes, we can observe.
Giannis and I can
statements.
we can speak to Caleb while you
All
do
right.
that.
All right, sounds good.
Certainly. Well, I mean, as a fellow Ventru, I'm sure. In spite of your differences, then this seems like a Ventru clan thing. What with one of your number?
I think it's probably. I
Diablo.
think I need to speak to him.
Might be a good way of building some bridges, even for you.
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see.
By the way, one of your camera mates has been diablerized on my domain.
Yeah, it's a great icebreaker.
No offense.
Matilda,
Yeah.
your folks, or at least the Camarilla, they're all concerned about where your blood comes from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably worth checking if this bloke, or back to anyone who might care that he's gone.
Well, he's one of Carl's kin, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think.
So does your family member go back to someone important? I mean, just saying. The older you get, the more enemies you got.
Well, Carl didn't does know. Oh my God, English, it's so difficult tonight. Carl does know that at some point in the past, Agnes and her sister-in-law Mary were part of Prince William's court. Mary was the harpy. Agnes was his counselor. So they held positions of power in the Camarilla of Bristol about 3 to 4 centuries ago. So we're talking maybe 300 years ago, 250, 300. You don't know exact dates. But after the English Civil War, for sure.
They are those with whom one should not mess, at the very least.
Yeah.
But if you did in one of their child, then that might piss them off, right? Or alternatively, it might count as revenge if you don't like them.
I think it would certainly annoy them. And for all Jonathan was in good standing, I think.
Yes.
With his sire, very good standing. So I would imagine that she will be extremely pissed off, as you put it.
Well, maybe she's where we go after a bad cop then, if you don't talk.
Oh, well, I would imagine that Caleb will be relaying this information, so we can certainly do that.
Yep.
If
We can go talk to Oscar then.
Yes, when he returns.
Okay.
Well, in the meanwhile, I'm going to clean out Matty's car.
Okay.
I'll help you.
Are
I'll
you
help you.
okay? So Nangisel and Alice and Matilda go to Matilda's car to clean it up. Are you going back to the place to also clean up there? Make sure that other stuff is...
Oh, what, near the tower?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will happily do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if they're going back there, Janusz will also go.
I think we probably need him to clean up the magic-y bits.
Yeah.
Okay. And...
If I get a
How
moment
will you
while
do that?
Janusz...
Take your magic Hoover. It'll be
the magic Henry. If I get a moment while Janusz is sorting out the de-glyphing that area, Matilda will probably turn to Nanj and be like, "So you and Janusz,
Yeah?
something
What?
changed?"
Luke? What are you asking?
No, it's just sometimes, well, the way you are with him is I don't know, it's different.
What do you mean it's different?
Well, you agree with him more. You don't agree with anyone much, but
Wait a minute. Do you...
Well, no, I don't
Are
think.
you
No, I
suggesting
know.
that-
I don't think like that. But
Because-
no, but
Let me tell you, mate, I wouldn't have him if his ass was hanging in diamonds.
no.
There is not a million...
No. I mean, if you are, then I'm not judging. But
I'm not. I just told you I'm not.
no, it's
It's complicated, is what it is.
the thing is, I know you were friends before, and I don't know him as well, but the way you are, or the way you have been the last few nights, it's like you're in orbit with each other or something. I don't know. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but
No, you ain't. You're not wrong. It's not the same. It's not what you might think. Is what I'm saying. It's just.
then what is it?
It's. He understands things. He understands a lot of things. He is a man of the world, and he's got answers for things what I didn't never think I would find answers for, and it's a good thing. It's difficult, this life, you know that more than most, right? There's not much worth hanging on to.
I agree, and I'm glad. Don't get me wrong. I am glad, and not just for the Coterie, because it's obviously good if we all get on. But you seem happier. You seem more content in yourself.
It's not specific to me and him. I mean, no. He's just made me understand things in a different way, and it's what I don't know. Have you ever felt like you were on the cusp of understanding something, but you couldn't quite reach it? That you had something, some way you needed to be, or something you needed to become, but you didn't quite know how to make the transition. That's what he's got the answers to. That's it. I understand now. I see a way forward now in a way I didn't before. You should talk to him about it. Honestly, if you've had that. No, I mean
just say, "Oh, can you help me understand something?" How do you understand?
He's more insightful than you think, right? He was able to. I know he realized something about me in that way, and I
believe you, and I'm glad. And I think, I mean, he's seems quite complicated. I mean, I saw him walk right through some weird blood magic, and it didn't even bother him. So he's obviously got something about him. But
he is complicated, but
yeah, we all are, I suppose.
I suppose we are, yeah. I mean,
sorry.
No, I was just going to say, he's got a lot of I don't know, spirituality, and it's a different thing you encounter with most of us. So
maybe I'll ask him. Not right now. I think we've got bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, we probably got better things to worry about, but
Diablo-Eyes Ventrue in my trunk.
I mean, Diablo-Eyes Ventrue is one thing, right? I mean, you don't... Of all the clans you expect to see that in. I mean, forgive me, but it's not like you're a lot of rule breakers, is it? No. So...
No, I think
it worries...
Whatever it is, it goes deep. I don't think it's just... I don't know. I think it's complicated. I think it's more than we know.
Yeah.
It's alright. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will. But we should get back and see if he needs any more help.
Yeah.
Don't tell him what you thought about us. Don't tell him that.
No, I'm not going to tell him. I can talk to you. I can't.
Thank God for that.
Okay. So you go back to Janice and you check out the place. Is there anything you're doing to the place, the barracks themselves? Are you modify them, moving them? As in, if you see any sort of like clue, will you remove it from the place? If you see anything that can be covered by, I don't know, spray paint, do you do that? Or if it's like,
I mean, I think Nanj will for her bit, certainly. So I think if there is a way to cover stuff, then I think she'll opt for that. Otherwise, she'll opt for moving stuff. I think for her, this is mostly about Masquerade Breach.
Yes.
But it's also about reclaiming the domain. But she will probably assume that Janosch will have something that he wants to do to deal with the kind of the magical part of this.
Yes, indeed. Janice would determine that in order to avoid further tampering, sort of blood sorcery wise, and to facilitate other powers of the blood, specifically a discipline that Janice has, and it's his clan discipline, which is Auspex. There are some preparations that are required. So it's basically where the ward was placed. It was inscribed in an object in a rock that was left in the center of this area, sort of circular area, but the area itself was demarcated in a manner not, and this will bother Janus. It's not much unlike what he did with his Koldunism of bleeding out the perimeter of the domain. It is somewhat similar, which means removing ground dirt where it fell in concrete, chipping it and breaking it. Need I remind you that this is something that, I mean, these barracks are part of Bristol's history.
And as such, they are to be respected, because we can't just mess with anything that is historical. I imagine that the library would particularly take offence.
Exactly.
Were we to do that?
So, but this has already been messed with, as you say. It has been corrupted, this ground, by a foul perversion of my clan's ways. Surely you're not suggesting that we leave it here to enable another breach to be carried out more easily?
You're on mute.
What's that, Carl? I can't hear you.
What I was thinking really was that we should make this area our next community project, and cover it in beautiful things, so that not only would it beautify the area and make me feel better about coming here, knowing that there's been this awfulness has been going on, but also it would allow our mortal friends, to swarm over this place on a regular basis for the next few weeks, and any nefarious Tremere that might turn up would find that they did not have the opportunity to go about rituals that might take a few hours to set up.
Well, this is a good strategy, Carl, but it still concerns me that there has been kindred blood seeped into this earth that is not of the Coterie.
Indeed. Although most of it, I imagine, was taken by whoever did this. One or more individuals, I should think, to overpower someone as old and knowledgeable as Jonathan was.
Well, I intend to do what I can to purify this place.
Excellent. Good call.
And then, yes, we should make it so it is difficult for our enemies to repeat such a thing.
Well, this was, as you know, this was the site of two of the best scenes in our show. So I'm sure getting people back here to this, which was the Heath, where poor Tom was naked, where I bestrode the fool and gave the one of my favourite speeches in the whole thing. I mean, it was marvellous. Blow winds and crack thy cheeks, rage, blow ye cataracts and hurricanes, spout. But I'm getting carried away. No, we should make this place secure by making it a thoroughfare, at least for a few weeks.
Good.
I think it's a good idea.
So is Janice going to take care of the cleansing?
Yes.
What is your? It'll take a while, a few hours. What is your resolve plus occult halved?
I believe it's an odd number. Yeah, it is 3.5.
Okay, so yes, you can do it.
Can I just say, despite everyone being very persuasive and sensible, if Janusz thinks he has to scratch a bit of architecture, he will.
Okay, excellent.
Unless somebody notices and stops him, he does not give an airborne shag, as they say, about that. So he will.
Okay, so this will be a few hours, maybe 2 to 3 hours. And considering the time of night that you're doing this, it might be very well that by the time you end, it'll be about an hour, not longer than that, before sunrise. So in that time, it's very likely that the Coterie needs to move to receive the refugees and either leave you to your own devices while you finish this, or someone just be the lookout while you engage in it.
Well, I will happily be the lookout.
Weren't you going to be the bad cop?
I was, but I'm more concerned with this now. Because we're in orbit around each other.
Flighty.
Yeah.
Flighty.
It's also... Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I was going to say, potentially, if we've made some progress in this, he could finish it off the next night.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst he thinks it is important, if unless Matilda is like, well, I'll stay and do the thing, or Nanj, I guess. But I thought Nanj was going to be the bad cop. I thought that was the plan.
I mean, that was her plan. But now, if you need help, she will.
Oh no, he doesn't need any help.
No,
the thing
I
is
mean
that
help by being a lookout is what I mean.
He doesn't need it. It would be like he can do it either alone or have someone else, but that someone else is going to be either very bored or a lookout, because he's going to be doing his own thing. Unless, of course, you have secret ranks in occult that I didn't know of.
I have no ranks in occult, but I'm a good lookout. But yes, anyway.
Is Janusz happy finishing it off himself, or?
Because the other thing is, he's not going to get back, is he? Because he doesn't drive. So if we all leave, he's no way back.
Oh shit! Yeah, he doesn't drive.
Or the sunrise. Yeah.
I mean, Matilda can always come pick him up potentially.
I can, yeah. I'm happy to do that. Finish him off, yeah. Pick him up at the end of the night.
Okay. Well then, is he gonna? He'll stay on his own. And the three of us go back to.
Yeah.
The thingy. Okay.
Okay. Cool. So, Nanjacel, Alice. Oh my God. Nanjacel, Matilda, and Carl. I was gonna say Josh and Carl get on Matilda's car, and they start driving back to the headquarters, basically, because that's where the refugees are gonna be dropped. Before we go into that scene, Peter.
Yo.
You will gain 1 stain for breaking a Chronicle tenant. The preserve and protect history, Bristol's history and heritage. Do you have any convictions that will help you shield that stain?
Potentially 2.
Potentially 2. Wow.
Yes. So one that I might put forward is protect the flock, because we are guarding our domain against intruders.
Yep, I will allow that.
I do have another option, but if you allow that, I can...
I am allowing that one, because what you're doing is minor. So you're sort of like digging on the earth, but also chipping away. But you're not like defacing the stone or whatever. The groundwork is going to be like the pieces of concrete where the blood was spilled you're chipping on the top. You're removing where the blood was in contact with the cement, in the concrete. But you're not like denting it or breaking it or, defacing it in any other way. So it would be just the one stain. And yes, protect the flock is a relevant conviction. Cool. So yeah, you shield it off. So sorry, no remorse checks for you ghouls that are listening and watching. Okay. So back in the headquarters, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour after you return and have sorted everything, like the body is in Janice's haven. Evelina, this youngish looking girl who probably is the first time Matilda ever had seen her. She looked maybe like a 15, 16-year-old girl. Arrived with sacks and stuff, like at 2 a.m, and very nonchalantly like help put bones in the bags and then moved away. Completely serious all the time, except for the sort of like the cheeky smile she gave Nanjacel when she saw her, and the deference she treated Janice's with, more like a girl talking to her grandfather or something. Other than that, that is not the oddest thing of the night, but definitely is kind of an odd thing.
Yeah.
Caleb arrives with your guests, the refugees. Annie gets off of the car first, and you see her somewhat relieved to be back in the headquarters. Like, she says hi and thank you when you open the door for her, and she just is curious and goes downstairs. Laura and Oscar and I forget his name, but Clarence. Thank you. Laura, Oscar, and Clarence. Just get off the car, start walking, just making chit chat, basic stuff. Mostly Clarence talking to Laura, and Oscar being sort of like in the conversation but silently participating, actively speaking, actively listening, nodding. The conversation is basically about places in the world that are interesting or whatever. Good evening. Josh, how have you been? Sorry, Carl, how have you been?
Most well, and yet rather worried about our mutual domain, our permanent and your temporary.
Is something the matter? Anything I can help you with?
Yes. The Tremere, I kind of leave a pregnant pause.
Yeah, at the sound of the mentioning of his clan, Oscar's sort of like his ears perk up a little bit. He stands a little straighter and half cocks his head, sort of like facing your direction.
Yes, they we have had some trouble tonight. A Ventru who had a family connection with me through my mortal line, was taken to their final death. And not only that, they were diablerized. And I turn on my my senses to see how he reacts to that.
Clarence is visibly shocked. So is Laura. Laura is horrified. Like, she was already horrified at the fact that someone would dare lay a hand on a Ventru and provide them with final death. That was horrifying enough. And then you make the horror story into an apocalyptic nightmare by mentioning diablerie.
I'll turn to her and I'll say I'm sorry that I had to bring this up. I felt important that you know this, and not only that, but my associate, who I know that you have some questions about, to say the least. Well, he was able to break a thaumaturgical ritual that had surrounded the corpse, and would likely, I had a vision of severe injury to anyone who had who would have entered that area before the ritual was broken. So it is our belief that there is perhaps, and I'll turn back to Oscar, a renegade member of your clan who performed this ritual, as I believe only your clan knows these secrets.
I wouldn't know of any renegades other than I've heard Anarch Tremere in the city. But I'm more curious about how would your companion and Coterie maid could have come across such knowledge himself. The arts of thaumaturgy are exclusive to Clan Tremere.
I know that his clan has their own type of sorcery. I have seen him in the past perform rituals. And I know little of the Chimich really, but he is the only one I've ever met. But I have known him for some time, and he is practiced at such things.
Turns out it was a good job. He was there. Otherwise, I might have been blown up. And that's the sort of shit that makes me really fucking unhappy.
Exactly. And that's certainly what I saw when I saw the vision. That's why I sort of screeched, lost my cool slightly, unlike me, to get Nanjazal to stop before she crossed the line that would have caused this to happen.
Okay. So while this conversation is taking place, but just backtracking it like a few minutes before, the moment Carl said that a Ventru had been killed and the mention of Diablerie, Caleb, who was getting back into the car, reached out of the window and held Matilda's arm. She grabbed her above the elbow to call her attention. A little, rougher than you would like, but you see that he's stunned by the news.
Yeah. I'm just going to sort of stand by him as if we're watching this conversation and see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I probably noticed this with my heightened senses.
Yes, you do notice it, but he doesn't interrupt. He makes it subtle. What Nanjazil might notice is that he reached out to talk to Matilda, and he of course looks concerned about the conversation, but he doesn't look as troubled as he really is. So it's like, you see, he's understandable, like reactions are understandable. And while Carl is having a conversation with Oscar, at some point he will pull Matilda closer and will say, "Which Ventru do you know?"
Jonathan Fowler.
Shh.
Did you know him?
Yeah.
Sorry.
He was a good friend of my sire.
Well, we have his remains safe. I'm assuming Obasi might want them returned.
Obasi might want to have a word with you. He mentioned that he needed to have a chat, but I believe this will expedite that. I will make arrangements, and I will let you know in a couple of nights. But get ready, because he will want to speak to you.
It's fine.
And then he comes to his senses, and his voice reaches Carl and say, perhaps we should not discuss this here in the open. And that's when everybody realizes, okay, we've been talking about, it's like so shocking that it's like we're just talking where it happened.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll assure everybody. I thought we were inside because just.
Well, you're like
Annie had gone downstairs.
The door is open. You're standing on the door, holding it, and everybody is like you are on the threshold of the door. So Laura is standing inside on the other side of the door, and Oscar is in front of you, and Clarence is by your side. But you're all in between the in the threshold of the door.
Do come in. Let's just discuss this upstairs.
Before Caleb goes, can I ask him? Can you vouch for these four? Were they with you all night?
Well, not with me, but I certainly can vouch for them. I left them in Camarilla Domain. I will speak directly with each of their hosts and ask them to vouch for them.
Thank you.
None of them had nothing to do as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Thank you. I'll push the door closed.
Before you leave, he reaches out to Carl again. Carl, would you like me to send word
Yeah, yes, I would very much like that. Please convey my deepest regrets and sympathies to Agnes, as she is very dear to me as a member of my family, as you know.
Yes.
And of course, to your sire as the leader of your clan.
I will let my sire know. He knows, Mrs. Fowler. I do not, sadly. Well, that
understood. Thank you for your help. And I'll lower my voice, and I will.
Can I have a in wits plus insight roll from Carl? You can add your presence dice to it.
Wits plus insight. Okay, hold on. I'll just. Carriage sheet. That's what I need. I was writing a poem at the same time. Okay. All right. Wits plus. So let's roll.
Go for insight. Add it with wits. Add your auspex, not presence. Auspex.
Yeah, sure. So wits plus. Well, it's not.
It's on. Go to the skills. It's easier.
Okay, sorry. I went to the other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting me to roll is never good, is it? Just cancel that then. Okay, so insight. Roll. Wit. Submit. Two successes.
Ooh.
I could spend willpower, I think.
Okay, do if you
Seems
wish.
like, because I've got another willpower reroll up my sleeve.
Oh yes, you do, because you have been very good in fulfilling your ambitions and desires throughout the game.
Oh well, that's all I'm about, really, being a Toreador. My desires. Okay, but now I have to find out where the wits reroll was.
WP reroll.
It's at the top of the sheet.
Okay. Under willpower, you can roll.
I did
3 dice.
I did it, I think. Okay, roll 3. No successes. Well, isn't that
it was worth the shot, because in your 2 successes you had a 10, so you had the chance of making it a critical win.
Right. Okay. Sure. But as it is, it's just...
So basically, what you get in general from Oscar, which is the person right in front of you, what you get is you get that he's... I'm gonna go with annoyed, but basically you are sort of well versed in this sort of thing enough to know that it's mostly because the conversation for him started with at the mention of the Tremere, and then we found a dead Ventru that was diablerized. So, and then the mention of the thaumaturgy. So that sort of, he is as the others, sort of like surprised by the news of final death of a local Ventru being diablerized. But there is that underlying, this coding of annoyance at, of course, you did not accuse him, but by mentioning Tremere rituals and the like, I mean, it's not exactly super popular, so... other than that,
well, no.
Just the genuine surprise of your guests. Annie has not heard the news. She is downstairs, so I don't know if someone is going to communicate the news to her or what.
Get back in.
Sorry, come again, Alice. I
lost
you for a second.
We'll let her know.
I'm still talking outside, so I'll I don't know.
I mean, I've assumed I'm sort of somewhere in the doorway or somewhere. Maybe I'm still like a little bit in the house.
Yeah. I think everybody's inside the headquarters now.
So in which case, I might go downstairs and find little orphan Annie.
Okay. So little orphan Annie is sitting in her bed. She's hugging a big plush toy that she has. Well, it's not massive. It's just like a big shark. She's just hugging at it in her bed.
So
checking her phone.
I'll as I go into the room, I'll stay.
The moment you step into the room, she tries to hide the phone with the toy, and then sees that's you and grabs the phone again.
I go, all right.
Don't tell the others. They told me not to use my cell phone, but I just...
Why are you using it then?
And then she shows you in this Candy Crush or whatever, something stupid like that. I don't know, whatever was popular in 2012.
I go, is that all you're using it for?
Well, I don't have many friends, do I? But a lot of the camera lad don't understand technology. Some of them don't even know what phones for mobiles are. So,
yeah, well, that's what happens when you get old, I'm afraid.
Like you should have seen them. I took out my Kindle to read.
Your what?
My Kindle. It's like a Kindle is something you use for electronic books. It's like, well, it's not. You say so? It's not super new. Mine is a good one, and well, someone almost lost it. Okay.
We're not supposed to be using electronic things, are we?
Yeah, but one is an electronic book.
Well, they said electronic things, and electronic book's an electronic thing, isn't it?
Yeah, we shouldn't be using electricity either. It's an electronic thing, right?
Point taken. Anyway, I didn't come down here to talk about electronic things. I came down here to talk about ghosts.
Her face goes like, whoa. You've seen ghosts?
Yeah, obviously. They're real, aren't they? So you must have seen them though, right? Because you have visions.
And at the mention of the visions, her demeanor changes a bit, but she was like, they don't work like that. But I heard that there's a Nosferatu here in town. She used to be sort of like a ghost hunter in life. Like she would like film it and go places, like haunted places.
That is made up shit, I'm telling you. I mean,
what the hauntings or the Nosferatu?
No, when they film it, it's all put on for show, isn't it? It's all put on for show. It's not real ghosts.
But I don't know. I would like to meet her. She sounded nice.
You know what? Well, I don't. I assume, Carlos, I don't know this person.
Mm-hmm. No. Well.
No, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. She mentioned a Nosferatu.
Yeah. Oh wait, this is not my housemate, presumably.
It's not your housemate. No, it's not your housemate. No. But a Nosferatu that could have been a ghost hunter. Maybe it sounds like one of the Nosferatus that works with a library.
Okay, right.
And there is. Yeah, I mean, you have never met her. She has never been like out. Not very sociable gal. But you have. It sort of like rings a bell. So yeah. Okay. I know that, but never interacted with her.
I'll say to her, well, I ain't never met her, but she might be worth tapping up because some interesting shit went down tonight. And
you saw a ghost?
No, we didn't see a ghost, but someone did die. What made me think that there might be ghosts to be seen. Now, they're not where the person died, because Janusz said that was the case. But the person's body is here, and I thought
her face, her eyes are gonna like pop out of her face. The sockets are at some point. Like she's
what
like,
I thought was,
whoa.
You are maybe better at seeing this sort of thing than what I am. So not today because it's getting late, but maybe tomorrow, you and I sneak out of here and we go and see if we can find some ghosts.
Should we take the ghost hunter Maybe tips from her.
I mean, we could do, but I reckon it's better if we keep it between me and you. In the same way that you're not supposed to be using your phone, are you?
She looks a guilty face, a guilty look down at her phone. It's like,
I'll say, look, this is
okay.
serious business, right? You was just telling Carl or someone, or telling us when you got here about the situation you're in. This bloke what died, he was important, and worse than that, he was someone who died in a not very nice way. So if we can find out about it, figure out what happened to him, and you can help us, that sets you up, doesn't it? You get to stay here. You ain't gonna go back to where you didn't want to go.
Stay here in town?
Sure. I mean,
I had a chat with Yanis. He was nice. We walked his dogs. He has many dogs.
oh yes, he does have lots of goals. Did you meet Duchess?
Yeah, she's huge.
Yeah. The best dog ever in the whole world. Fact.
No, I liked one that is like he said it was a Polish Shepherd. It's a lot smaller than Duchess, but still very big, but also very fluffy.
It's the best kind of dog, right?
Yeah,
You should listen to him. He speaks a lot of sense. I'm telling you.
He did, and he offered his help, and I told him I'm gonna go to Edinburgh and meet my clan. There are people from my clan up there, and what I want to understand is what happens next with me and mine. But if I am allowed, because I'm a fledgling after all, but if my clan allows me to
take
come,
responsibility.
yeah, if I am allowed to find someone, I would advocate maybe for Bristol.
Sure, you should definitely come back here.
And if
and you're right about him, he's a man who knows a lot of things. And there's nobody better to teach you than him.
Excellent.
Well,
if not, I will stay with my clan for a while until I am deemed a neonate, and then I can choose what to do for myself, right?
you know what?
Mm-hmm.
If you stay here, you haven't got to pick the Camarilla. You can pick somewhere else.
Oh, sorry, what?
Well, if you go to Edinburgh, right? They're gonna teach you things, and they're gonna deem you a neonate, and then you're gonna be in the Camarilla, and that's one thing you might do.
Yeah.
But here in Bristol, it don't work that way. You've got more choices.
But wait.
Because we ain't all Camarilla.
But I was embraced in the Camarilla.
Well, yeah, and whoever embraced you ain't here no more. That means you get to make your own choices.
Wait, but my sire was a Camarilla Malkavian, and I was embraced as a Camarilla Malkavian. I don't know.
It's just a word, Annie. It doesn't define what you are.
No, because you're a minister, and it's different. Like ministers are different from Malkavians.
Well,
I asked, and you're not like the other ministers that they have. Like there's a minister here that is very creepy, very sleazy.
Oh, you must mean Ruben, yeah. He is pretty creepy.
Yeah, guy ponytail, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Wait.
So what I'm saying is, you have got an opportunity what most people in your position never get. Not ever. Right? Because most folks, exactly as you say, they're sired by someone, and then that person tells them exactly the way everything's meant to be. But you are free. You get to make a choice. You get to decide where you want to be. You don't even have to be Camarilla or Anarch here. You can be independent. This city is the best place to be because it tolerates anything. Sky's the limit.
So there are ways for me to choose who I am here.
Right, that's what Janusz was trying to tell you. If you stayed here, you don't need to be accepted as a fledgling. You don't need to go jump through their hoops. You just need to have somebody vouch for you.
She reaches out and holds your hand, like she drops her phone in the bed, and holds out your hand, and she gives you a look like a younger sister look, like a child. If I can be anything, can I choose not to be Malkavian? Can I have this vision stop? Is that something Bristol can do for me? Is that something Janusz can do for me?
Janusz can transform you. Whether or not it stops the visions, I don't know. But I'll tell you something. When I got turned into a vampire, I couldn't go nowhere near the water. And when after he finished teaching me what he taught me, that didn't bother me no more. I was fundamentally different.
You see a blood tear coming out of Annie's eyes as she gives you a smile and say, then I will find a way to be a new me here. I'll just have to figure out how.
I'll run my thumb over the blood tear so I can wipe it away from her, and I'll say, if I'm not much mistaken, that's the first choice you ever made for yourself, and it's the best one.
It feels good but scary. And she says that you feel the tremble in her voice.
That's exactly how it should feel. You know what? It'll get easier each decision you make.
Great.
I should probably get back to the others, right?
Oh yes,
whenever you get the chance,
yes, let's go. Let's go up.
Let's get hold of him. Oh, we'll go upstairs.
Yeah, she grabs the phone, turns it off, opens the shark plush toy, and puts the phone inside, and walks upstairs with her shark plush toy.
I nod approvingly.
Yeah. and when you nod, she said, like, it's amazing the kind of stuff you can get away by just being Malkavian sometimes. I mean, she just starts walking up the stairs and she puts her hoodie, like the hood of her hoodie up. And with that, we're going to go to a break. Sorry?
Could I just add something before
yes, sure.
we go? I just want to, because I've felt obviously deeply affected by Jonathan's death.
Yes.
So I give what's his name, the driver?
Caleb.
Caleb. I give Caleb a poem for Agnes.
Oh yes,
to give Agnes, and it goes like this: Poor Jonathan has found his final death in cold, bleak ground where once a war was fought. Centuries before he took his final breath, but now he echoes only in our thought. A firm and solid friend, a loyal child. Poor lonely Agnes, now you are bereft. Your anger will be harsh and wild in presence here of this immortal theft. And not just dead and gone, but taken foul. Diablery, most loathsome of all sins. And round us here our enemies do prowl. The hunt for villains, vengeance now begins. I do swear we bring this to the light and wrench these miscreants from the Bristol night.
And with that poem, we're going to go to a break. Thank you very much for that, Josh. Hello and welcome back for part 2 of episode 5, season 1 of Blood on the Severn. And we left it with Nangisel walking upstairs with Annie while she's hugging her shark plush toy, or basically her big disguise for a cell phone. And upstairs, Oscar, Laura, and Clarence are basically trying to come to terms with what has happened. Chatting with Carl and with Matilda. For the first time, Matilda, Laura talks to you openly. Like, there's no contempt. There's no anger in her voice. She feels genuinely concerned for what had happened. And you echo that sentiment. You don't like, the idea of someone being diablerized in the city. And she does ask you, how often does this kind of thing happen? I've heard things of the anarchs and some of them engaging in this practice, but Bristol seems to be a different city for all factions. And I wouldn't want to assume, and of course I am in no way trying to shift the blame into the anarchs. What I mean is, diablerie is a severely, how should I put it?
It's shit.
Yes, but you know what I mean. You were Camarilla once.
I do. I know it's there are crimes and there are breaches, and then there's diablerie, and it's a whole other thing. And I do understand. And I don't think, well, anarchs aren't all desensitized to it. It's an awful thing. And it's an awful prospect. But you're right, Bristol is different.
So I would assume that it is considered a crime by all factions?
Yeah, it is. I mean,
And
it depends. It's a flat-out crime in the Camarilla. Sometimes it might be circumstantial with the annex if there's been a situation that might warrant diablerie, but that's very rare.
what is Matilda's intelligence plus politics? Sorry, intelligence plus academics law, half rounded up.
Half rounded up. 1 second. Intelligence plus academics plus law.
Yeah,
It's 2 plus.
plus your one for your specialty
Yeah,
on
so
law,
it's-
right?
Yeah, so that's 3.5.
4. Okay. Round it up. So Matilda will know that it is punishable by all, that it is in the accords written by all the factions, and is punishable by all factions with
Cool.
with branding and execution.
Call me. I will retcon that and I will say it is punishable by all.
So yeah. When you say Bristol is different, you can add that.
Yeah.
She's curious about the accords and what they are and what they could represent.
I'll explain it to her and I'll give her some detail of the history of Bristol and sort of what,
Like legally speaking, which is the one you
legally
know.
speaking, and also like just socially, like how it's come to be as well, and how we're at this point. If she seems interested.
She's more interested on the aspect of the accords relating to this crime, because she understands very well the laws of the Camarilla and the traditions.
Yeah.
But But she looks genuinely interested in knowing how a city like Bristol will deal with this, especially because by having a conversation with her that she has a very keen political mind, and she understands the repercussions of such a crime occurring in the domain of a multi-faction coterie, which makes it immediately a multi-faction issue.
Yeah. I'll ask her, what did you do when you were in London?
I was, you mean for the Camarilla?
For yourself? For the Camarilla?
I used to work for the mayor of the city of London in life. It's a position that is filled once a year. They have a cute carriage, a nice hat. But I was a civil servant working there. I got to make more than a few connections, good contacts. Then, after my embrace, I was taken out of the city for a while, and when it was deemed appropriate for me to return, with very little threat to the Masquerade, I started working with my clan, basically solidifying our hold into the politics of the city. And, of course, parliament's there. Everything goes through there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So...
Well, it sounds like that's a lot to lose.
I lost everything, Matilda. I lost my child. I lost probably my sire. I would not know. We lost our prince.
Yeah.
We lost everything.
I mean, where are you thinking of going now? It's to the US, right?
America, yes. That's where I was sort of spirited away after my embrace for a while. Washington, D.C. It was a good place. I mean, I still had some connections in life that I had made from dignitaries around the place, and I would jump between New York, UN, and D.C.
Quite a pedigree.
Well, I was born into politics. My family has dedicated themselves for it for a while. But I decided to go the route of the civil servant instead of the route of the parties. I didn't like what either of the parties were doing here, and when I went to America, it wasn't much different. There, the parties are very much the same, but you're in the center, in the sidelines, having a clear allegiance to your principles. Then it's easy to see bullshit coming your way.
Yes. I mean, it sounds like you're very capable. It sounds like you'll get on very well wherever you go. And I think it's right that you're going. Not to be rude, but it looks like Bristol's going to be a bit of a shit show for a couple of weeks until we sort this out. All the factions.
Until this is sorted.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you how I see things, Matilda. This is sort of a goodwill gesture from a fellow Ventru. They will try to pin the crime on us. Refugees, I mean. Some will go as far as to blame it on the refugees in this domain because we are the ones who have access to this domain. Of course, that will not fly for long, because I spent tonight in the company of the Promedian of my clan.
You all have alibis by the sounds of it.
We were not all together, but we were all with people from our respective clans. Except poor Annie, she was in the company of the Toreador. Because there are not that many Malkavian, Camarilla Malkavians that were available tonight.
No. The company of Toreadors isn't all bad.
No, see, she seemed to enjoy it. They were chatty while she's quiet. But I do know that Clarence spent part of the night by her side. Of course, Clarence did not spend the night with the gangrel. He spent it with the Toreador. So...
Well, I can't speak for the rest of our coterie, but for me, it seems extraordinarily unlikely that you had anything to do with this. I mean, only Oscar would have had the power to put the wards up, and he was certainly nowhere near the place tonight, as far as I know. And, well...
I have not left your sight at any point.
Mm-hmm.
But
you have all been exemplary guests, and I hope that, that you will continue to be so.
Thank you. Laura continues with how she sees things in her mind's eye. Eventually, someone will find a clue. Whether it is true clue or fabricated, does not matter. And then the blame will be shifted. If it's not towards refugees, it will be towards one of the sects. My guess is no one will aim at the Camarilla for a member of good standing of the Camarilla is the one that was lost. It'll be either the Anarchs or the Autarchies. Now, we haven't been here long, but there's a lot of bad blood between our sects, Matilda. Don't be surprised if an Anarch or Anarchs in general are put to blame on this.
But are there any Tremere Anarchs in the city, Matilda?
Are there any Tremere Anarchs in the city, Carlos? Oh, there's one, isn't there?
Yes, you do know it. Yeah.
Oh shit, hang on, is he part of my... No, wait.
No, he's not one of your gang.
No. Who is he?
That would be a shit show.
Yeah.
Well, we're used to those.
We do. Yeah, so I'd say, yeah, there is one.
One.
So I suppose there'll be one, and there'll be one of the first ones to be asked about it, I imagine, once it gets out that it was Tremere magic that was protecting his body. Or
you think so?
Well, I mean, stands to reason. I only hope he's got a good alibi.
To me, to be honest, Laura, it seems more likely that it is someone seeing a weakness. I don't see... my main thought immediately was that whatever happened in London has begun to happen here, and this is the start of it.
And when you say that, Clarence is the one who goes like, I would have not thought of that. But mainly because that's not the way things started in London.
Mm.
But now that you mention it, we don't have to have a repeat of London.
They don't...
the end result might be the same with a different start.
I mean, if they're smart, they won't repeat it.
They know that we are forewarned about the London, what happened in London. None of us are using our electronic devices. We're not making phone calls. so that they don't have the same way to find out where everybody is. What they might do, of course, is if they were into take the library, then that would be a different matter, because everything is certainly recorded there, but it is recorded, I think, on paper more than on electronics.
Well,
So they can't.
I actually, you do remember that I think it was to you, Carl, that Hubert mentioned that. No, sorry, Matilda. It was to Matilda that yes, even if they have electronic records, they are in a closed network that it has no access or connectivity to any outside sources. It's basically the equivalent of having an old desktop with no internet connection. Everything that you put in there is as good as in paper.
It's all on an Amstrad.
Yeah. It's basically digital Fort Knox. It can't really be.
Sort of, because, I mean, how do you hack a system that has no terminals to hack to?
But with that known, it would seem to me that anyway, they are obviously extremely clever. The fact that they were able to do this in London at all is extreme cleverness. That they would not use the same MO twice, I would have thought.
If they have the means to do what they did in London, it stands to reason they have the means to do whatever they're doing here. If they're responsible,
they may be attempting to divide and conquer, given that Bristol is well known for our three sects and the uneasy peace that goes along with the accords, and if that they are trying to drive wedges between the three sects to make it easier for them to destroy us, then this would be a good start, you'd think.
And Laura turns to you, Carl, and says, and what if it's an opportunistic killing?
That's true too. But then why put up Tremere wards?
There's a Tremere amongst us.
There is.
Yeah.
And I would be very surprised if the first instinct of either you or your coterie mates was not to think Oscar had anything to do with it.
My first instinct, and I think this will be borne out by the others, my first instinct was to make sure that he was protected from blame, because I was certain that it wasn't him.
Thank you.
Is Oscar right now?
I'm sorry to talk around you, Oscar. I'm obviously, but Laura made the accusation that perhaps, and of course, suspicious minds might think otherwise, but I feel that you have been exemplary guests. You are members of the Camarilla, so I have that loyalty to you. But also I know that Caleb and the rest of our sect look after you in the city. And not only that, they watch you, because that is important, because you are guests.
Yes.
So
I will suggest, if I may, as a guest, to expedite a meeting with my regent.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know or understand how your accords work, but he's a sheriff of the Camarilla.
Though this may pain you, I think it important that Janus talks to you and your sheriff, because he is the one who knows how the wards were set up, as he was the one who broke them. And I don't know how this works, but if there's any kind of signature or whatever on them, then he may have spotted something that is beyond my comprehension.
At the mention of Janus, of course, his features harden and he goes back to his very quiet, passive-aggressive self.
And I say to him, and this is why I believe they will be able to divide and conquer us unless we are careful. We must put aside these, prejudices. You do not know Janus. You only know his clan.
And for some, that is more than enough. And that's when Nan Giselle and Annie come walking into the door. Annie is wearing an oversized hoodie with a hood up, and she's hugging a plush toy shark. Sort of like the size of her chest. This is a big shark.
Well,
as I come into the room, I'll say, all right.
Yeah.
I'll go over and give Annie a hug, as I feel that it's the kind of thing we do now. We've been together a few weeks and we have confided in each other.
Yes, and she actually at the side of you, she gives you a big hug, not letting go of the shark, but
I wouldn't want to take her shark away from her. That's
and she smiles.
I'll say, we've updated Annie on what's been going on.
Did any of you know the person?
No.
I did. Yes. He was sort of in my family, although from a different clan.
She looks both sad and confused, but more sad than anything. And she holds your hand in hers, and she looks you in the eye and says, "I'm really sorry for your loss."
Thank you. Thank you. It is a friend of mine who will feel the loss the keenest, and I hope she will be well with it. But it is our job to try and find out what happened. And I know that you hate your visions and that they come and go, but should you see anything to do with this, then I think we would all be very grateful if you would let us know.
I will. And she turns and looks at Nan Giselle. It's like, yes,
I'll say, don't worry, I know you will. But now's not the time to be open for visions, is it?
Well, she shrugs. I see. I mean, it's like she doesn't control themselves. She just goes like, well, meh.
They come and go. There's no controlling them.
I'll say, so given what you all know, what are you thinking is the next best things to do? Because Carlier, I know he thinks it's no one that's standing in this room what's responsible for it.
Well, I was just saying to everybody that I thought perhaps it was somebody from outside the city.
Perhaps someone who had something to do with London.
Exactly.
Well, if that's the case, then there are some quite significant problems, if you ask me. Because they'd have to get through other domains in order to get to ours. And that don't make no sense unless they know something about Bristol and how it works.
Well, they certainly knew something about London and how.
I think Nanja's right, though. They'd have to know that this domain is an factionary domain, because
that means they pick here on purpose.
They're picking. Yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, we could be very unlucky, but I imagine there's some thought behind.
In my experience, there ain't no such thing as luck.
So we have
Sorry, Mike. Go on.
There's just someone who knows enough about Bristol to know that this is an opportunistic place to put a body like this.
Well, it's famous for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of trouble they went to if it was opportunistic. What
well, I don't know. I think we are merely conjecturing, but I feel that making a fight amongst ourselves, which some of us would rather do, is weakening all of us and leaving us open to attack. And we know that the main domain within our country has been attacked and has fallen. So we should be in no doubt that should they levy their forces against us, that it will be a serious fight.
Well, I'm up for a serious fight if one comes knocking on the door. I ain't saying I'm seeking one out.
Excellent.
But I am saying I'll put out some feelers. Getting stuff in and out of the city is what I do. Now, that means that I know people that should be aware if any deals was going down to get stuff in and out.
Might well be worth putting out some feelers there then.
Right. Well, it's a tomorrow job, isn't it?
Speaking of tomorrow, I'm gonna look at my watch. Is it about time that
Yes,
because
it
Yanis
is
can't
time.
get back
Yes.
without?
It's about time to go and pick up Janice.
Let's go get Janos.
And
I'll stay with the
with the guest,
coterie.
yeah.
I'll go with Matilda
You're the
because
host.
I'm going to stay in my room at Jan's place.
Okay. So Carl will entertain his guests for a little bit longer.
I'll give Annie a wink when I leave.
Yeah, she smiles and hides her half of her face behind the shark.
I'll
Carl
probably notice this and just file it away.
Yeah.
Carl will receive sort of basically all four. Well, not all four. Annie doesn't have anyone, and Clarence really doesn't care. But he would like to be like you have seen Clarence being very active in the social scene. So Laura and Oscar already has petitioned to talk to his regent. Laura asked to talk to her primogen, and Clarence goes a step further and saying, "Well, since there is no gangrel primogen, and I need to seek guidance in our sect, how difficult is it to get an audience with Prince Nathaniel?"
Well, that really does depend on his mood. Sometimes he seems rather frail or sleepy, should we say, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And at other times, and I would have thought now, for one of those times, most likely, he is much more alert. The last time I saw him, he was considerably more alert. I'm often used as the master of revels in the Camarilla events that occur at Ashton Gate, and I've had to steer him off the stage a few times after he's said a few words. But
He puts his hands to his chest and says, "Oh, poor man, he must be tormented by."
Quite.
But
then other times he's lively, vibrant, almost youthful in his movements. And the last time we saw him, which was the beginning of this crisis, he was like that. So there may be a good opportunity for you to talk to him. I can certainly ask.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And then the conversation continues along those lines.
Yeah, I'll probably end up, playing some music for them. Like, obviously, play the guitar and the piano.
Yeah.
And maybe teaching Annie a little song or two.
And Annie is interested in maybe singing along with you. Some of the others retire to their thoughts. Clarence goes outside to have a cigarette and comes back and sits to read. It's a normal end of the evening where everybody is with their thoughts, and Annie escaping those thoughts is with you, making music until you decide to go back to your
Okay,
hay.
and I'll just check that she's all right. Because I know that.
Yeah, you see her. You see her that as if nothing had happened, as if okay, everybody's going sort of back to normal. She's trying to enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Good. Okay, that's fine then.
Peter, can I get resolve plus animalism roll from you, please?
Yeah, you can. So I'm giving you the elevator music as I.
Don't worry, we have a good background music soundtrack.
Yeah.
With a lot of amazing artists with free
There we go.
t-shirt music, so check them out. Links in the description. Okay, cool. You will sense a presence behind you, approaching steadily, prowling like a predator. with not the best intentions towards you. They wish to harm you but not hurt you, if that makes any sense.
I mean, a little. Okay, so I've got a couple of questions just before I jump into this. Mm-hmm. I assume I've been defacing ancient history.
Yes, that is exactly what you have been doing.
Is this location right on the border of our domain?
No, it's well within your domain.
Awesome. Okay. So when I get this sense, do I have a vague sense of where they are?
Mm-hmm. Yes, behind you, and you have a very good sense of where they are. They're fairly close.
All right. Well, I would like to turn around, and if I'm guessing actually the Duchess isn't with me right now. Or is she?
No, because you were brought here on car.
All right.
Oh no, a very full car. So the Duchess, unless Matilda buys like an SUV, like a family van.
No, it's fine. When I turn around, do I see someone?
Yes, you do. She's making no attempt to conceal herself. She's just walking very carefully and slowly towards you, but not slowly, sorry, very carefully and very determined. And when you see her, when you stop and you see her, you probably recognize her from somewhere. Like you've seen her. Trisha, a hound.
Okay. Interesting.
When you turn around and she sees that you've clocked her, she just hurries her pace and gets to your face and thinks, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she gestures at you, defacing history.
I'll say, I'm removing the traces of thaumaturgy from this spot. If you have heard yet, there has been a grievous crime committed here.
That is the reason I came here. Let's deal with the niceties. As the Hound of the Camarilla and a representative of the victim, can I be in your domain for the duration of my investigation tonight?
I'll take a moment.
And she's like looking around, and the moment she realizes that you don't immediately say yes, she just turns around and looks at you. Like, well, come on, old man. Not long until sunset, until sunrise. I'm asking permission to be around for less than an hour.
You have finally followed the correct protocol. Before that, you demanded to know what I was doing within my own domain.
You were defacing something.
I was doing what I saw fit in my own domain, and you had not asked permission to enter. Remember, I can see you. I can see you. And the way you approached, without respect. So yes, I will permit you to do this investigation. But do not forget how things should be done.
Yes, a brief pause while the storyteller makes a frenzy check on behalf of poor Trisha.
Awesome.
Because, I mean, after all, she is a hound and of higher status, and she feels she's been insulted by a lesser. Okay, so you see her. She looks at you. Says, "Fine. My apologies for the brusque entrance, but it's been difficult of late to engage in normal communication channels. Also, I was told that the crime was severe."
It was.
What have you found? What were you doing? Thaumaturgy. What is that?
It is a
magic?
A blood art practiced by the Tremere. I'll say. And it was used to create a barrier such that kindred would suffer great pain if they tried to cross it. However, I was able to break that barrier. And within it was the remains of one of our Camarilla of Bristol, who had been not only destroyed, but his very soul had been consumed.
Yeah. Message got to the ears of the regent. Sorry, she will say the sheriff. A message got to the ears of the sheriff. That's why he sent me here immediately. Where's the body?
We have removed it. I've been waiting for someone of your office to arrive such that we can turn it over.
Well, I cannot receive it. As a sheriff, as a hound of the sheriff, the only thing I can do here is come and engage in conversation and investigation, but this is not my domain, and I don't know how the Accords treat crimes on interfaction grounds. I don't even know how to. This domain is strange. Doesn't belong to any faction, so therefore it's very difficult to understand and know which of the laws of the Accords apply. Within Camarilla territory, it would have been a completely internal investigation unless the victim was found to be someone from another sect. But here, I am unsure on how to proceed. That's why I just came to here, have a look, have a chat with you.
Well, perhaps your fresh eyes might see something that we have missed. We have been dealing with the profane treatment of this ground and the obvious breaches of the Masquerade. We have not had a lot of time yet to look into more ordinary signs that might have been left by intruders.
Well, if you allow me, I'll...
Yes, of course.
She steps into goes down the step ladder, and she starts taking a look around. She says, there are... How many were you when you came here? There are several sets of prints here.
Yeah, still 4 of us.
Which direction did you came from? Did you come
show
from?
her.
Okay. She starts looking around, and eventually she finds something a little off the way. A direction that you did not use neither to arrive nor to depart.
Okay, I will very slowly make my way after her.
And she does recognize. She grabs a little bit of the dirt. There's 2 sets of footprints here. And it's... I mean, this is like a sort of somewhat of a parky area. It's like it's the grass. It's not like concrete or no. It sort of goes into the wooded area. And then immediately, goes up and down the hill. She says that there are 2 sets of footprints. Coming. This doesn't make any sense. There's 2 sets of footprints coming, and then there is another set of footprints leaving. 2 sets leaving. It says, I would have imagined that 2 come in, 1 goes out.
You assume that he was devoured here? not left here afterwards, not brought here by those that did this.
Yes. She goes around the place, starts investigating, tells you that, because things were moved, there's not much that she can work with, but it is her belief that the diablerie did take place here. And when she says that, she just stands up, dusts off her hands, pats you in the back and says, "Good luck with that shit. You're in the middle of a shitstorm, Paul."
Which way did you say these footsteps left? Which direction?
They go into sort of like the northern wooded area.
Is that still within our domain?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Janusz will begin to toddle off in that direction.
Okay.
He's not going to go too far if he thinks that, he's going to be picked up soon. He's just going to go and see, ideally he'll go somewhere with a bit of height so he can just look in that direction and see what's out there. He's specifically looking to see if there are any rivers or bodies of water or things over in that area.
Oh, he does see there is like a slope. And when you get to the top of it, when Janusz gets to the top of it, he sees that there are many options here. If you could follow the tracks, eventually you will lose them because they reach pavement and road. And it's not like it's been raining or muddy. So it's not like after a block or so, it's like going to be impossible to follow them. Sadly, no bodies of water that you can see in the way. But there is this sort of nagging feeling, like at the back of Janusz's head. Trisha is not the only presence that you have felt around. It's just the presence that was intent on harming you or without hurting you. Like smacking you, shoving you, whatever.
Yeah.
She was sort of like going to make you come into your senses. Again, Camarilla. She might be a gangrel, but Camarilla. They stick too closely to rules sometimes, even if they don't want to.
So there is another presence here, another kindred, do I think?
But it's vain. It's faint. You don't know for sure if it's kindred or not. No critical success on your beast sense roll.
Okay. Well, now I'm on this slightly higher ground. I don't know if I have a sense of vague direction, but if not, I will just survey the area. Because I figure there aren't many people around at this time. See if I can see anybody.
You start looking in all directions. What strikes you is that you recognize a car coming. It's Matilda's. But yes, you sort of find, depending on which route you take, if you go like upwards north, you can get to, all the way to Chiswick Village and the like, which is part of it within your domain still. But if you take them more to the west, then that takes you sort of further deeper into Lockleys. You're coming from the southeast, just for reference.
Okay. Well, I will wait for the car.
Yep. Matilda arrives, and I would imagine people get dropped in their havens. Well, you and Nanj get dropped in yours.
Nanj wants to stay with Jan.
But isn't he coming back?
Yes, he's
so I'm staying at his house in my room there. So yeah.
So Janusz will totally want to talk to them in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So it's very kind of you both to come and collect me.
Okay. Did you find anything? Did you grab all the
It will go okay.
blood magic off?
In a manner of speaking, one of the hounds of the Camarilla arrived, made demands unfitting of her station, but once we had spoken and come to an understanding, she discovered there had been some tracks, 2 pairs of tracks. And it is her belief that the devouring took place within our domain.
Seems you've got some tracks to follow tomorrow then.
With 2 tracks going in and 1 going out then?
Well, one of them's going to be him, isn't it?
2 sets of tracks going in, yes.
Yeah. Right.
Now, there's something troubling about this for me.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I'm surprised I was not aware of their arrival.
What, you reckon they came while she was there?
No, I mean that this domain, this place, is ours. And if intruders come, it disturbs the earth. Intruders of a supernatural nature. We are the only predators allowed here. The true masters of this place.
So that means there's some way to come and go unseen.
Yes, perhaps they are adept at travelling in some way. But there is another possibility regarding the wards. Maybe they were not placed by kindred. Maybe that mortals with the twisted blood of the Tremere in their veins did it.
Well, it lines up with potentially what we were thinking back at the Haven, that it might be an aftershock of what's happening in London as well. Which means that they're not necessarily always going to be kindred.
You think they're going to come back? Try and put these wards down again?
No, I doubt it. It's possible, but they would have to begin afresh now.
Right.
What did the hound say?
Well, that she did not understand how this domain worked, that she believed this to be a difficult time ahead for us, and that she was glad not to be responsible for it.
What about if, when we come back tomorrow, we bring Carl with us? Maybe, if they walked off into them woods, he'll have a vision about her or something.
Yes, perhaps Carl will be gifted with some wisdom to help us.
Could be. I mean, we can try and follow the tracks, but it'll be overnight, and who knows what the weather will be like.
They already lead. We cannot follow them for long. They travel back to more civilized areas, and.
But if she reckons he was done in here, right? Then maybe if Carl's somewhere near the exact spot where it happened, not where he was left, that might trigger something off. Or we could bring Annie, because she wants a chat with you anyway, yeah.
Ah, well, I would be happy to talk to her, of course.
Yeah. Well, she wants to stay in Bristol. She's made a decision.
I had hoped she would.
Well, I was chatting to her earlier. That's what she said. So.
She has no friends or family or support.
Right. I pointed out to her that she's got a choice not a lot of people get, right? Because her sire's done in. What means that she gets to make a choice that not a lot of people get to make. So she don't have to go stay with a camera, does she? She can stay here. Turns out that's a appealable choice as it happens.
Yes, why choose servitude when you can choose freedom?
Quite, you know.
Exactly.
No wonder there's people trying to knock him off left, right, and centre. Anyways, she might want to chat to you anyway, but can't hurt to bring her along here, can it? She's got the same powers as Carl. 2 for 1.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't have a particularly nice time the last time she had a vision, though. Is she going to be happy to come along and have another one?
Well, she's got no control over it. She might not have one.
The visions will come one way or another.
Right. Besides, she's making her own choices now. She might want to find out how she can be useful.
Yeah.
Otherwise than that, I told Carl I was going to put some feelers out. See if anyone on the ground has had tail of stuff coming in or out of the city. The thing is, our domain's not on the outskirts of the city, which means they would have to come through other domains to get here.
Yeah.
And that means either they chose us deliberately or we're being targeted somehow.
Yeah.
Well, this kindred is well known in the city, I understand. Perhaps others will have seen him.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure someone will be willing to say when they last saw him. We might be able to figure out a trail of events before he died.
Perhaps they will see the company he kept.
I'm more interested in the places he went to that no one else knew about. Right? He's camera-low, which means there's going to be one trail, which is all about what he wants people to see. And then probably another trail, which is all about the secret stuff. That's what happens when you put rules like that on people. So I'm going to see if I can hunt down who he associated with that might not have been pleasing to his clan or his sire or whoever else. Might be nothing, but
yeah. No, it's worth.
You don't live a long time without making enemies, do you?
No, and I don't doubt he probably had enemies in the camera and out of it. I was speaking to Laura and she brought something up and she said that, I mean, the blame might likely go to the Anarchs, but it might be nothing to do with what happened in London. It might be a Camarilla intersect thing and they want to shaft the blame onto the Anarchs as well, so...
It'd be just like the Camarilla to throw shit at the Anarchs, wouldn't it?
Incredibly in character.
Yeah, and besides, if they can point the finger somewhere else, they ain't got to clean up the shit in their own house, have they?
So, yeah. Need to figure out who he was friends with, who he was not friends with.
However this was done, someone's soul was taken from them.
Yeah, and is there a way to deal with that? I mean, I know we can't get it back. I just mean, if that hadn't have happened, then he would have passed on proper, like, that matters.
Yes, it does.
Is there something we can say or do that might help with that?
That's an interesting question. I will think on it. There is certainly nothing to stop us asking for help.
Right, I thought you might say that. It'd sit better with me if we could do that. Whatever else he was, he didn't ask for this, did he?
No, he did not.
And the car drops Nangel and Janus in their haven, in Janus's haven, and Matilda goes back to her house.
A raised eyebrow as Nanj decides to stay with Janus.
I'll be like, keep quiet, all right? I was can't walk in the house.
Carl also makes his way back to his house, and he oddly enough, receives a phone call on his mobile.
Okay, I shall.
Unknown number.
Okay, well, I'll answer it.
Is this Carl de Thoreau?
Who's speaking?
My name is Susanna Willoughby. And I would like to know if something that I've heard tonight is true. And you hear the crackling on the line as if it's like a long distance call.
I don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting before, Susanna.
I have not. I was a resident of Bristol more than a lifetime ago.
Oh, I see.
Her name does ring a bell. You remember
Okay.
her name being mentioned as the sire of Gareth Davis, the autarkist Toreador.
Mm-hmm.
And Susanna is also of Clan Toreador. She was autarkist. You never met her in person, but her art is a little bit like when you see it, is the kind of art that evokes all the beauty of the sort of like industrial revolution.
Right.
That's sort of like, cogs and the engines and the oil and the coal. And also, she was one of the first toreador in Bristol who experimented with light and light bulbs and into the, Okay. But the heart of her creations were always loud and messy.
Well, I shall say to her, I'm sure I've seen some.
Yes,
I shall say to her, Susanna, it is a pleasure to speak to you, for you have immortalized the art of work in this city so beautifully. And when I see your pieces, I am always transported to an earlier time in which, although things perhaps were simpler, they were becoming complicated. There was the promise of the modern era within the canvases that you worked on, within the sculptures that you made. And I am always, as I say, transported to a different place when I see them. It is an honor to speak to you.
Thank you very much. Apologies, this call might seem a little cold, and sadly matters preclude me from having a decent, polite conversation with a fellow toreador.
Understood, and we have actually been put under instruction not to make this kind of conversation, but I hear from the quality of the line that you are far away.
I am. I have been living outside of Bristol for a couple of decades now. Mm-hmm. But it reached my ears, the death of my child.
I'm probably at this stage, given where my haven is, sitting on the stage of the Bristol Old Vic.
Yeah,
I always like to
take
my air on there before I descend to the dressing rooms and get to my my haven in the catacombs beneath. I will look around me, and noticing that the stage is dressed for an Oscar Wilde production, draw up an armchair and sit down and cross my legs and say, "Do go on."
The death of my child after the arrival of refugees makes things suspicious. You will see, Carl, over 100 and maybe 30 years ago, someone else died. Someone else of the Fowler family. A ghoul at the time. I was in charge of that investigation together with my friends of the autarkies.
Yes, I see.
And word reached me tonight of another victim, another kindred meeting final death after refugees have arrived to the city. And this time, there's the mention of diablerie.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? I called you because you were the person instructed as the point of contact for matters dealing with that coterie, and being a fellow toreador, I was hoping you could do me the courtesy and share some information and provide a little bit of light.
You understand that it is rather difficult, as I am conversing over a line which may not be secure.
I've been working with machines and machinery for over a century now, Carl. You can speak freely on this.
Well, you are in that case correct.
Do you know if my child died of diablerie as well?
I don't think they did they? Out of character.
You have no idea.
Right, okay. I'll say that then. I'll say, well, no, I don't know. Gareth, it is a mystery what happened to him. He is missed, of course.
Well, as I understand it, it is your responsibility to investigate the death of Jonathan Fowler.
Yes.
If you make inquiries about the death of my child and discern whether or not he was diablerized, I can share information about your family. At least the branch that went into the Ventru.
Well, that would be very interesting indeed. You are most kind. It seems to me that if we are indeed, as seems likely, put in charge of this investigation, then these two deaths so close to each other are likely to be related, and therefore I could impose on the investigators into your child's death for some details and then be able to pass them on. But of course, you have me at an advantage. I have no way of getting in touch with you. Perhaps you could text me your number.
No need. If you need to contact me, approach the cartographer. He's also my child.
Very well.
Have a pleasant evening, Carl.
And you. Sleep well.
And the line cuts. And you feel that at the beginning she was very polite and courteous, but when she started talking about the death of her child and the implication that it could be that her child might have been diablerized, just as you said, two deaths sort of close together, not that far apart in time, with a very unusual set of circumstances around it, you can commiserate with the pain of this woman who talked to you as coldly as you have heard any Ventru discussing business. And you could feel that Susanna Willoughby means business. And with that, we're going to draw the session to a close. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Again, thank you for keeping all the patience in the world with me. 1,000 apologies for the delays and all the technical issues. Also, to all of those, all those of you who voted for the backdrop dropping, because there was a Twitter vote, the backdrop dropping within the first 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, you all failed.
Be of little faith.
I had faith.
People said that they would last for the entirety of the stream, but oh no, it's falling.
Oh, foul play. Foul play.
Start waving, guys. See you next week for episode 6. Take care, everybody, and see you next Monday. Bye. Oh, it's falling. Bye-bye. It's falling.